Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast with a Wrestling with Wrestling.com exclusive coming to you from me and one other guy tonight. Mr. CM Stylez is joining me for this greatest Royal Rumble 2018 review. Dude, how are you doing? How's your weekend going?
The weekend went good. It was quiet. It was lonely, but hey, you know what? I got to watch the greatest Royal Rumble Friday afternoon, so that was a great start to a good weekend.
Yeah, I watched it in pieces, majority of it late Friday night. I watched the opening, or pre-show, I should say, the first match. I watched, what was it, the IC match? Yeah, the Intercontinental Championship, and then like one other thing, and then the rest of it I saved for later that night just because I was running around the house, cleaning up stuff, getting the house ready for the kids, all this other stuff, and I was like, okay, I really do not have time this morning to sit down and actually watch this. Overall, dude, what did you think of this event? Were you happy with it? Were you kind of what did you think, dude?
I thought it was all right. You know, this was a special event for the Saudis, and you know, the King and the Prince of Saudi Arabia wanted a WWE event. Yeah, we talked about this before. It sucked that there wasn't women on the card, but there's every reason why they did it. You know, why there was no women on the card. Basically, because women don't have any rights over there, and you know, they're looked down upon versus the rights and freedoms that women would have over here in the States. You know, it was a change of scenery, and overall, they still put on a clinic. A lot of old school wrestling, some spots here and there, a couple of botches, even Titus O'Neil, who saved the whole entire show. So
I'm just adjusting volumes here.
Uh-oh.
Like, I'm just raising yours a little bit. I don't know why these are both like almost like muted. I don't understand.
I can easily fix that if you give me 1 second. How's that?
You are a little louder. You are good. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay. I'm just making sure that everything is good.
Yeah, I disabled that program. It lowered my pitch.
Okay. All right. Just making sure, because I was just looking at the controls, and I don't really usually mess with that. And I was like, all right, I want to raise yours a little bit, but then whatever. I'm not a very technical savvy guy when it comes to like online as I'm doing this. Okay. We're good to go. Yeah, man, I thought, even though I had to like watch it in like pieces and stuff, I was really happy with this. I mean, you know, there was people just all day just trolling the hell out of this, just complaining. And it's like, okay, you can waste your time and complain about nitpicking this. Overall, this was so much fun to watch. I mean, people were calling this a glorified house show. Yeah, it was. But you know what? There were so many aspects of this that made it so much more than a house show. I mean, number one, the kickoff match, for crying out loud. We got Cena versus Triple H.
Yeah.
And that was
wrestling too.
That was just a lot of fun. I mean, when's the last time we got that? Was it 10 years ago, they said?
Yeah.
And the pyro. Oh my goodness. That was like such an issue over the course of the last couple of years with budget cuts or whatever. There were so many guys. I mean, not every single person that came out got pyro, but man, like John Cena's pyro and Triple H's pyro to kick off this event. It was like 4th of July and WrestleMania mixed. It was nuts. I was just sitting there on my couch like, just jaw dropped, like, wow, I almost had goosebumps. That was a lot of fun. And there were a couple parts of the show, and we'll get into it. We don't have to nitpick every single little thing, because this was 5 hours long. It's like, oh my goodness, it was very long. The Rumble itself was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That was
the longest Rumble, and the greatest moment of the Rumble is watching someone run down to the ring and sliding underneath it. Thanks, Titus.
It was, I don't know if he actually planned to do this. I didn't
planned at all. I think that was a complete oops.
And even if it was, my goodness, man, people are going to talk about that for flipping ever. And it was so funny. And dude's going to put it, I know he is. Dude's going to put it on a t-shirt with a picture of like an apron and like feet sticking out or something.
Don't be surprised if we see that tomorrow night on Raw.
Oh, man. They've got to.
Because they're going to replay that tomorrow night. That's for goddamn sure.
Oh, they'll be talking about it. Yeah. And no titles changed hands with the exception of finding out the newly crowned Raw Tag Team champions. And I'd say the only part of this entire show from top to bottom that I was a little disappointed in, if I could, critique it at all, would be the Stylez Nakamura match. Was a double count out. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was the only match that I missed a lot of because I had to go get my daughter from school. And when I came back, that was actually a shorter match than WrestleMania, but it's still put on a clinic from what I watched over in the recap. Just the way that they don't want to take the title off of Stylez, but they don't want to make Shinsuke look weak. They want to give us a good storyline, and this is exactly what the WWE needs. It's going to develop confusion within the wrestling community. They're going to be like, why did it end in a double count out? Yeah, this was an old school based show. Everything about it had old school written all over it, because this is stuff you would have saw in the late 80s and possibly the early 90s. And I think Vince is trying to bring that back. Not just Vince, but Triple H. Triple H is as old school as it gets. And
he's innovative. He really is. I mean, look what he's trying to do just with NXT.
Yeah. I mean, NXT, that's his baby now. Vince created NXT, but he passed it down to Triple H, and Triple H is making it an independent show. I mean, look at all the talent on there. It's got a bunch of ROH guys, some former CZW guys, including the referee. And of course, they got their own little homebrew of, our homegrown wrestlers, that are slowly developing that we saw in the Rumble. And
oh, yeah. Oh, did we ever?
I was like, I watch NXT from time to time, and trying to get to know these faces again, it's going to take a little time. But once I get the hold of who they are, where they're coming from, I respect their character a little bit more. But they were kind of treated like a joke being in that ring, going up against veterans like Mark Henry, guys like Strowman.
Oh yeah, and it was cool to see. As long as we're talking about the Rumble, let's talk about that. Um, there was a few faces in there that were I was really surprised to see. There was a couple I don't think anybody knew who they were. Um, Hiroki, I didn't catch the guy's name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name at all now.
This, you know who I'm talking about, the sumo wrestler.
Sumo guy. Yeah, I was like, who is this guy?
He was like, they said he was like,
I was like, did he get lost on the way to like an event?
they said he was like 6'5", 400 pounds or something. I was like, oh my goodness.
And he got tossed over the ropes like it was nothing.
Yeah, he did. I thought he was going to be in there for a while, but I mean, not knowing anything about him, just his presence was like, holy cow. Was talking about like the presence of NXT. Roderick Strong was in there.
Yeah,
that was a very pleasant. I love Roderick Strong.
Oh wait, no, Drew's not NXT. That's right. He's main roster. He's a cruiserweight. There was this one guy. I forget what his name was, but he's like a bodyguard in NXT or whatever, or he has some type of bodyguard role.
Oh, the giant guy.
Yeah,
the 7-footer, Batumba or something.
Yeah, that's the guy.
He's never been on TV before. I had no clue. They said he was a former football player. So, former NFL star turned pro wrestler, which is, the story of a lot of big guys. Like, you look like Moose, who's in Impact, or, well, hell, look, Goldberg, Lex Luger, just name a few classic names. But this dude was a monster. He looked like a legit 7-footer. Some of them are like, big casts. I'm 7 foot. No, dude, you're barely 6'5", man. But I can't wait to see more of him, man. I mean, because WWE doesn't have a lot of really big guys besides Strowman and a couple others. And then you want to go the other extreme, Hornswoggle. What'd you think of Hornswoggle showing up?
That was pretty short of him to be in the Rumble. He wasn't even tossed over the top rope. He was tossed in the middle, and that was it for him. So
yeah, he climbed out, and he was climbing up to the top rope, and then got knocked down, and yeah. So technically, he never lost the greatest Royal Rumble, but whatever.
But yeah, it was great to see him in there. Him and Kofi worked for a little bit. They had fond memories of working a Rumble a couple years back.
They actually let him do a Samoan drop. It's like if you watch him in House of Hardcore, he's actually doing legit wrestling moves. I mean, yeah, he's working with other guys, but it's just great to see.
But yeah, I was actually surprised to see him in the ring and performing. I was like, I tried to avoid spoilers, and as soon as I saw his name on the card, I was like, no. And then when I saw that it was in the Rumble, I was like, no. But
yeah. Busted out the old leprechaun suit. Yeah, and he's had long hair lately. He went down to a buzz cut and bleached it.
All that just for one time. WWE should bring him back, though.
You think so?
I think so. Dude, it's family entertainment. You don't have to pay him as much, and he doesn't have to make as many appearances.
I don't know. It's like
he can still work in the indies with a certain contract, but, all merchandise rights to go to the WWE, and if they even make merchandise for him. Little guy, big heart.
Yeah, they probably haven't for a long time. I think he's got his own shop on Pro Wrestling Tees, I'm pretty sure. And he's actually running his own school up in northern Wisconsin, middle northern Wisconsin area, somewhere up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so to have a guy from Wisconsin repping the WWE, even if it is Hornswoggle, it's cool. Just trying to think. Oh, and what'd you think of the championship and the trophy that Braun Strowman got?
I think that was pretty cool. Every year we have a Royal Rumble, and the winner gets a title shot, a guaranteed title shot for WrestleMania. But to actually give them a title from, a Saudi Arabian title with a trophy, this could be a new tradition. This might override the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial or Battle Royal Memorial. But there's too many Battle Royals now.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? And it was just announced, I don't know if it was today, I was catching up on everything today. Over the course of the weekend, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, I guess they're already going back in November for, I don't know, I don't think it's going to be in the same place. I think it's going to be some other place in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's going to be a much smaller venue. I'd say something in the capacity of what they do Raw and SmackDown with.
Like a 20,000 seater ish, 10 to 20.
Yeah, something like that.
Probably, yeah. Did you happen to hear what the attendance was for the show at all?
No. From what it looked like, that's a big ass arena. That had to at least house, seat wise, it had to at least about 55, 60,000 seats. But out of all that, I'd say between 50, 60,000 people, including floor seats.
Well, like the interview with Hornswoggle after the fact, after he was done, and he gave kind of an emotional response to the whole just being there and everything. It seemed like he got a little choked up. He said something about 40,000 people. I'd have to think it was more than 40,000 people. I mean, I realized that there weren't people behind the stage.
I'm looking at the attendance right now, 60,000 flat.
Because I know the place holds 60,000 people, and I know part of it was papered, and there weren't a lot of people on the floor. So it's kind of hard to...
Like, the floor seating was really odd. I was like, there was so much space. You could have put more seats out front, But from what I was hearing...
it was reserved for... go ahead.
But yeah, the front row, at least on the hard camera side, or not the hard camera side, where the cameras are at, that was reserved for the king and the prince and his family. And then everything else was just, what was it? Reserved for other people as well. Like, you couldn't just buy a ticket and come on in. I forget this. I didn't read the whole story on it, but it was really strict on how to get into this event. Mainly because their laws are much different than ours. I don't know their rules, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I was also reading reviews from people that were there, their experience. A lot of people were not digging this event. Some people were, mostly that's what I wanted to talk about. Some of the people that were there were families, like fathers that would talk about wrestling was fake. I gotta find this story again, but someone was talking about in the crowd where one person said, they were saying it in Saudi Arabian or Arabic, that the event is full of fake wrestlers. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't know how true the story is, but if this is legit, I wouldn't be holding my events there anymore. But,
well, yeah. I mean, overall, just by listening to the crowd, I mean, this crowd was
pretty hot.
Yeah. I mean, this was a real, I would say, non-American crowd. And I say that because most of the time when you hear about crowds outside the U.S., it's something genuinely from like the U.K. that gets like publicized or like a post WrestleMania crowd is very European. But just hearing the crowd reactions, even for like the opening matches, cheering for Triple H, cheering for John Cena. I think one of the biggest pops of the night was, I'd say Taker. And for booing, I mean, I think people were just genuinely excited about this because even like the heels got cheered.
Yeah.
Like Nakamura, it was kind of mixed, but it was a lot of cheers, like more than usual.
Yeah, they had to work their magic to get the crowd to boom.
Oh yeah. But I'd say legit the biggest boo was when the Daivari brothers came down.
Oh God, Saudi Arabia versus Iran.
With the Iranian flag. I was like, oh my God. You know, and they didn't make a big deal about saying the history of the two, but there's legit, when they pan the crowd, there's legit, you know, I mean, there were some that they were just like they were still smiling, but going like this.
Saw that and I was like, oh man, at least some people got the gist of it. Some people understood that this is just a story.
But they wouldn't. I mean, they know the sensitivity of this, and you can't imagine that they would have done something like this without getting the permission from the Saudi family or the royal family. Exactly. The ones that wanted them to do this. I mean, they understand the entertainment value of this. It's like, okay, I'm sure they had to be very careful on what they could and couldn't put. I mean, especially with, the whole women thing. They put up a promo between matches that featured women on it. And, there were some people that legit got upset about that. I mean, there were some that cheered because they liked the WWE wrestlers, but obviously they, everybody knows they can't perform there. And they had the Jeddah Sports Authority or whoever, was in charge of the whole event, had to make a public apology on behalf of the WWE for that advertisement. So what did you think of the I really enjoyed the casket match. What did you think of it?
I thought the casket match was pretty solid. Rusev did a great job selling being on top of the casket, running away from it, Taker chasing him. Taker, he's looking real good.
He looked healthy. I mean, it was I was like, okay, as long as we get something longer than a 3-minute squash match like we got at Mania with Cena.
Yeah. We finally get to see him work with somebody that has never worked with Undertaker before, except for being in the Rumble. But that was a different story because you're going up against not just one guy, you're going up against 29 other superstars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought this match was great. Aiden English's role in the match, that was pretty good as well. He took a little bump with the tombstone, if you paid attention to that. And
oh, dude, as soon as he dropped him, I was like, oh my God, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, like the first time I missed it, and then I watched the replay, and I was like, he bumped his head on the mat. And that mat, like everyone says, it's not a trampoline, That's 4x4 wood with a little bit of padding right on top of it. And there is no forgiveness whatsoever. and everyone was talking about, oh, you could have got Owen Hardy or something like that, or Stone Cold. And, you know, Undertaker 316 says, I just tombstoned your neck.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard afterwards, it's, you know, he said he was helped to the back, but obviously he's selling
the tombstone.
He's selling it. You know, let's hope. I mean, yeah, let's hope he wasn't hurt. I mean, he didn't look like he was completely crunched. It looked like it was pretty light when he did hit it, but even when he was holding him, that's one thing that wrestling fans have come to look at is like, okay, where's his head? Where's his knees at? Where's his head? And it looked like, because Aiden English is a tall guy. He's tall and lanky. And I was like, ooh, he looks a little low. And when he dropped, it was like, oh, I hope he's all right. Back in the day, you didn't think about that. You saw him, you know, get crunched, and you were like, yeah. And now it's like, whoa. So yeah, I hope he's okay. But yeah, I dug it. I just to see the just to see the look on the people's faces when the Undertaker came down. I mean, they were that was half the fun watching this event, was watching the reaction on the looks of their faces. They were so legit happy to have this. Especially like right in the middle of the event when they brought out the 4 guys that they chose from the tryouts. Yeah. That had been working on, you know, working with Trips, Jason, I can't think of his name. The head trainer down at NXT, big guy.
Oh, A-Train?
Yeah. And then they had a couple other guys. I could picture him. I can't. Dan Bantha. And one half of the, I was going to say steak and weights. No, it's heavy machinery. Tucker Knight. They were helping train these guys. And a nice little variety of, you know, different guys that were chosen to represent them. And just that right there. And I'm not talking about, we already talked about the reaction from the crowd when the Daivari brothers came out. But just to see these 4 guys in the ring and the reaction from the crowd that were so legit, just a look of pride, you know? It was really cool. What did you think of that moment?
You know, I didn't know what to think, you know. I don't know how to respond to this one. I was pretty entertained by it.
It was different, you know. Certainly something you don't see at, you know, every single show. It showed how special this whole show was as far as for this crowd. It really was one of, obviously, where, you know, they set up, you know, a multi-year deal for going back and having big events like this. But as far as like a big first for this size of the grandeur of it and all that. Ronnie in the chat says this was really an odd show. Yeah, I mean, if you try not to overthink it, overall, I mean, it was a stacked card. It was a Mania-sized show, a Mania-sized crowd, tons of pyro, some special moments like Cena versus Trips, Taker, the casket match, and people are like, "Oh, it's just a house show." It's like, okay, number one,
more than a house show.
You ain't gonna see Cena versus Trips at a house show. Number two, you ain't gonna see $1 million worth of pyro at a house show. Number three,
that stage too. You won't see that.
Yeah, the stage. Taker being there. Period. No, not a house show. No. So I mean, you can call it what you want. You can argue it what you want. But this was pretty cool. Well, go ahead, dude.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, seeing that, it kind of reminded me like Tough Enough with those 4 dudes in the Iranian flag and everything. It sparked a little showcase for 4 guys that have a dream, and
yeah. I don't know if they're coming back to the U.S. or if they're gonna come over and start actually training in the facility, but I'm excited to see just the fact that they were over there doing that is like a huge, how do I say this? It's a huge nod to the relationship that's built there as far as Vince and Trips and the rest of the company and the country saying, hey, we appreciate you bringing us over, the amount of hospitality that's shown. We want to take some time, get a handful of guys together. I don't know what they had, like originally had like a dozen or 2 dozen guys or whatever it was, and give some of those younger guys the opportunity to join the WWE. They didn't have to do that. That's huge. That's a huge relationship building part right there.
Yeah.
And
like we said, this is like a 10-year deal. Hopefully it stays in 10 years, but hopefully it goes longer than that. Once things start changing over there, you said it the other day, women are going to be driving cars for the first time in over a century.
Yeah, first time ever. It just shows how the culture is evolving. People complaining about it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. We want to see the women do great things at every show. This isn't the USA. We take so many things for granted. Walk outside, talk to a neighbor about religion or anything of that matter. You can't do that over there. You can't just walk around and talk about anything. But that's their culture, and they are changing though.
Yeah, they really are. And I really appreciate that. They're trying to go outside their law, and that just shows that they care about our aspects, about what we want from them. But at the same time, they're going to want something from us. Say they come over here, they want to live by their law, their religion, their religious beliefs, and all that, and that's fine. As long as you follow our laws, we'll follow yours. But if you abuse your laws while you're on American soil, then it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be as diplomatic, and that's exactly what this is all about: is diplomats. General safety for everybody, and I just can't wait to see the next few years where everyone's going to be like, oh, hey, look, now there's women on the card. But I can't wait for them to say, oh, well, that match could have been better if it was over here in the U.S. And then I'm like, you're just a hypocrite.
Well, yeah, it's like you're going to see certain things at this show that you're not going to see in the U.S. and vice versa. It's like you talk about the pyro. It's like the pyro was incredible. I mean,
yeah, it was. I was surprised. Like even during the Rumble, there was pyro.
Some of the entrances, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no way. This is sweet.
Let's talk about a couple of the other matches. Like I said, even though there weren't any actual title changes, with the exception of the. Come on, work with me. What is? I got stuck in the gallery. I was going to try to look through a couple of pictures, but I didn't want to be clicking the whole time you're talking. My personal favorite out of this whole thing, it's kind of hard for me to pick, But I'd say either now granted the Rumble was fun, but I wouldn't say that was my favorite part of it. Although there were, like we had a couple of the legendary GIF making moments, like O'Neal diving underneath, botching that. It was so funny. I think the ladder match was a great match, and I'd say my other favorite was the cruiserweight match. What were some of your favorite matches or moments?
My favorite matches, and I did have to rewatch AJ versus Shinsuke. I did enjoy that 4-man ladder match between The Miz, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe.
Miz got some fireworks, man. That was nice.
Yeah. But that ending was all so confusing. The way that Finn was almost about to get the title, and then Seth Rollins just popped right in the ring and was like, huh? Like he saw a ghost. It's like, was that supposed to happen? That felt like a botch.
Oh, you mean?
Oh, go ahead.
You mean which part? I was just reading something in the chat.
Oh, the end.
Oh, when he jumped on the ladder, you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. You talk about like out of nowhere, just how the camera was on Finn, and all of a sudden, boom, there's Seth, and just shimmied up and snatched it and dropped the thing. It all happened like that, and Finn was so close, and then ended up getting hurt in the process. I'm not sure. I think he actually got hurt when because they replayed it kind of slow, when Seth grabbed the belt and ripped it off the hook holder, whatever you want to call it. Part of the strap came undone and smacked Finn in the face, and I think those studs that are on there. I think one of the studs caught him right there. I think don't quote me on that, but I think pretty sure that's what happened. It's what it looked like anyways. I don't think he hit his head on a ladder or anything like that, but
no, that was the belt that bladed him. I was like, oops,
crazy. It must have whacked him pretty good. I'd have to rewatch it back, that little segment, but yeah, it happened so Finn's face, he was just up there for like a couple minutes, just kind of like
yeah, we looked at confusion, like I almost had the title, but Seth beat me to it.
I mean, I have no doubt that Finn is going to get that sometime, and hey, it might be soon. You never know what they're going to do with the mid-card title, as opposed to, well, Brock's got this damn belt till God knows when now.
Yeah, Vince's boy right there. That's for goddamn sure.
Oh, jeez Louise. I don't know. I mean, I've heard rumors that they're trying to break CM Punk's record, which is ridiculous because it's like, well, that's the wrong title. That's just stupid if that's what they're actually trying to do is break CM Punk's record. It's like he was WWE champion and Brock's holding this championship over here, which to me still doesn't have a whole lot of prestige considering what they're doing with it.
Part-time title.
The part-time title. I try not to overthink it because obviously there's some stuff that the WWE does and we're just kind of like scratching our head like why are you doing this, and yet other things they do it's like wow, we love it. What do you think of the cage match and that crazy ass finish, dude?
I think Roman, he should have won that match because his feet touched the ground first. That's usually the rule. If your feet touch first. And I'm sure we're going to see something tomorrow night on Raw where Roman's going to cut a promo talking about my feet touched the ground first and Brock just his back touched it before I did, blah, blah, blah. And Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how technical they want to get with this. If they're talking about, I mean, because if what did I watch right before we were doing this? Oh, it was like a rundown of the results that Kathy Kelly did on. It was like a YouTube video on the WWE channel,
Okay. Yeah.
and they said because Brock's back hit the ground first with the cage, that's what caused his win. Now, how much or if that's going to be disputed come Monday night, I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. Like, because I didn't watch it. My wife, what was it? I just got home. Oh, I just got home with the kids and from picking them up from school for the weekend. And my wife goes, I know who won the cage match. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to find out as soon as I go on social media. So hit me. Why? What happened? She goes, well, I think they're going to reverse it. I'm like, reverse it? I'm like, what the hell happened? And then she told me. And then I watched it later that night. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But it looked cool. It was kind of unexpected. I wasn't expecting it. I don't know if anybody else saw it coming. I didn't. But, it wasn't a very long match. It was like 10 minutes. But obviously they had to, leave room for the Royal Rumble, which was an hour and a half. So the Wyatts are Raw Tag Team Champions.
Yes, they are.
Really no surprise there because the bar's now on SmackDown, so we kind of knew that one was coming. I actually got that prediction right. A couple of them I botched, I think, but whatever now. Do you think we're going to get any additions on Monday night?
Now that the Superstar shakeup is pretty much complete, I don't think we're going to see any more additions to the Raw SmackDown roster.
No, I meant to the Woken. I should have been more specific. I meant the Woken family.
I don't know. I know Bray did an open invitation to Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. But I was also reading a review where someone said they like to see the return of Damien Mizdow and make his version of the Miztourage, the Mizdow Tourage.
That'd be interesting. Hey, that's one guy we haven't heard a lot of ever since
Aaron Rex.
Yeah, he was done with. He was in TNA, like kind of like in that odd phase where there was a lot of change going on in the company, and he really wasn't there very long, and I'd say he was misused. But ever since he was done with TNA, I don't know if he's even wrestling anymore. I haven't heard anything.
Indies, but he's just like Jack Swagger. We didn't hear much about him after his run in the WWE. Once you're out of that company, you're popular out in the independent scene for maybe a month or so, and then after that, you're just a whisper in the wind.
It really depends on what you do with it and where you go and how you promote yourself. There's all these different factors that go into it. You can just kind of fade away into obscurity, or you can become one of the hottest. I mean, look at what happened to Cody.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes. He's making more now than he did ever with the WWE. He's on top of the world right now, and it's crazy. They're planning the All-In event in Chi-Town. It's unheard of. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, yeah. Ronnie in the chat said poor Titus is never going to live that down. No, but it's, I'd rather have something to be known for something humorous than like, oh, I can't believe that son of a bitch did that one thing. You know, something like completely negative. You know, at least it puts smiles on faces. You know, as they say. As generic as that statement is, for this event, it was genuine. You know, that's all you saw was so many smiles on people's faces. And if you just looked at, even going back to like, you know, the John Cena Triple H match, you look at the first couple minutes of that, and just listening to the crowd and looking at the looks on their faces as they were starting this match, they were even like, wow, you know, they got caught up in it, which was so cool, you know?
Yeah, you don't see that with, you know, talent anymore, you know, especially with overseas like this. They get caught in that moment, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's actually happening here. You know, that kind of reminds me of Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali at WrestleMania. Did you see the excitement of those two when they realized they were at the grandest stage of them all?
Oh, yeah. They were so excited and just like, and I remember it was Cedric was like bouncing all over the place, like, wow, look at what we're doing. You know, it was a very proud moment for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, for this to happen with even the older veterans to be over in the, you know, a Middle Eastern area, it was like, oh, holy cow, we're doing this, we're making history, and like, holy shit, we need to do this more often.
Yeah. Who knows how much they're gonna do this? You know, I mean, and I know there were some people criticizing about the it's Saudi money and blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, money's money. Okay, I don't think we have to overthink that one. It's.
And I keep hearing about the UK, how they don't get their events or nothing like that. Well, throw out the same amount of money that Saudi Arabia did, and you can have as many shows as you want.
Yeah, I mean, Vince is a businessman. He's not gonna
shit for free.
No. I mean, he obviously wants some kind of return, you know. And it doesn't matter what they were selling tickets for. If the people are, somewhat poor, if the money was put up from the king himself to bring people over for his people, his nation, his area, whatever.
And who's to say they haven't done it before? Remember SummerSlam? I think it was 1987, 1988, over in the UK at Wembley Stadium. I think it was in the 80s. I'll have to go back and take a look.
Late 80s, early 90s, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they do that, and then they have that 1 week tour over there in the UK. Actually, it's a 2-week tour if you think about it.
There's one coming up. Yeah, they do what's it called, the Download Festival? So they mix like a concert with wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just saw that what the heck is it? Oh, the United Kingdom tournament's coming up in, it's either June or July. I just saw the poster for it on Twitter earlier. It's going to feature NXT. Looks like it's going to be a bunch of the UK guys against what the heck is that? Adam Cole's group.
Oh, crap. Nah, I forget.
I'm so not used to it. It's like so different. It's
like I said, I hardly watch NXT anymore. That's
why. But you know what I'm talking about. Roderick Strong just joined them, and Bobby Fish is out injured for a while, and Riley, the Undisputed
era.
That's it. Yeah. Those guys. So it sounds like it's going to be a big UK/NXT event. This should be a lot of fun. And it'll be on the network for $9.99. So I know there was a couple other matches, but I didn't want to break down every single little thing just because some of the matches were a little less significant, as far as title changes and everything that happened. Bludgeon Brothers won, no surprise there.
Yeah, that was a quick match.
Yeah.
Domination match. Like, the Usos barely had any offense.
Yeah. So, yeah, some of these were shorter matches, but, it was just because they had to reserve the amount of time for the 50-man Rumble, which if you got individual, entrances every few minutes, times 50, yeah, that's it's crazy. So, any final thoughts on this, dude?
Overall, I think this is a great aspect of a glorified Hell show. Congrats to Braun Strowman for winning the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. Enjoy that title. Defend it next year at the next event.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, if he's gonna actually carry that around now, or
I'm sure they're going to have him carry it. If I were Vince, I'd have him carry it. It's a prestige title now. It's it's going to be anyway. Maybe they could. Oh God, I hope they don't. But if they do, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole Royal Rumble was just to validate that title.
Well, it's they had they had the trophy and they had the championship belt, which it looks great. It looks like it was it had symbols on it that represented where it was from. Like the trees and stuff. It looked cool. What's going to be interesting is the aftermath of this. If there's going to be anything significant, as in, okay, you got the trophy, you've got the championship. Does it entitle you to, like the normal Royal Rumble, you go on to, if you win it, you go on to headline WrestleMania against whoever is champ. This Royal Rumble, what's the payoff? Is there a payoff? Do you get to say, if they do this every year, a month after Mania, every year, do you get to challenge whoever is champ, say at SummerSlam, which is like the number 2 event? Something like that. I think that'd be something legit. Do you think?
I think it'd be great. Hopefully they come up with some ideas for this. Do it within the next 10 years. Well, next 9 now, because this year's going to blow right on by.
So yeah, so that's about it for this. Pretty much run everything down. Thank you so much for joining me, Stylez. Much appreciated.
Always a pleasure, brother.
I'd say overall this was a success, and but we want to hear, if you're watching this after the fact, I want to hear your thoughts too, and by all means, check out the rest of the stuff on wrestlingwithwrestling.com. Over 40 contributors, running stuff from the talk about stuff from the WWE, Impact, the Indies, all over the place. Go check out the wrestling, that wrestlingwithwrestling.com. It's a great website. And as far as my stuff, there's plenty more where that came from. Go check it out. Give it a like, give it a sub, and ring that bell for notifications so that when more of my stuff hits your screen. It's it for this one, folks. We'll see you down the road real soon. Good night.
Peace out.